Hey everyone, Zoha Nagar here, and today I'm joined by Montreal-born singer Sara Diamond. Sara has released her latest EP called SaraX and is kicking off her tour, the SaraX tour. We have so many exciting things to talk about today, so let's get right into it. I want to know where it all started. So I know you performed the American National Anthem for the Montreal Canadiens. And you
Yes.
also started performing at like age 5, 6?
Yeah. So my mom, when she was pregnant with me, started a children's record label. So songs for toddlers and babies and, preschool, whatever. And when I was around 5, I guess I just started singing around the house and she was like, oh, like my daughter can sing. Maybe I'll use her for my CDs. So I kind of got my start recording that way and experimenting with vocals and with not with production, but with being in a production. And I absolutely loved it. I did hundreds of songs. I was working with her all the time. And when I was 10, I had a singing coach, and she was like, why don't we, apply for a Factor grant? So Factor is a government organization that gives out money for the arts. So I applied for one and I got this album grant at 10. So things just kind of started rolling in a really interesting way. Someone on the Factor board was like, I want to manage you. So I was managed at that age and I made this whole album and I started performing a little bit. And then I actually moved to LA when I was 14 and I joined a girl group. And that was interesting. I was in it for 3 months. It didn't work out, but I stayed in LA and I wrote with people and I learned new things. And it did get to the point where I was really homesick and it just wasn't the right fit for me at the time. So I went home and I was like, I'm never singing again. I'm done with it. I went into the science stream in high school instead of the art stream. Like I really was like, I'm done with music.
Yeah.
And I started studying business at McGill. And then the anthem opportunity came up and I was like, I wanted to do this when I was 13. Why not do it now?
Yeah.
So I did it and it just reignited this passion and love for music and singing and performing. So I followed it. And then when I was 20, I was like, you know what? I have this love for music again and I think I'm going to pursue it. So I started working with producers in Montreal and I created an EP and I've been going ever since.
That's amazing. I actually love that it's not like I started and then I kept going. You have like that little, you doubted yourself at first, but
Yeah, for
you are.
5 years.
And you're 27?
27.
So you've been doing this full time for 7 years.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that
Yeah.
so much. I love that so
Well,
much.
I mean, almost full time. Like I had a hostessing job at one point and I was working at
Yeah.
a cafe, but now I'm doing it full time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's crazy because like if you look at where you were and then where you are now, you released 3 EPs, you're going on tour, which is
Yeah.
insane. And I was doing a little stalking on your Instagram, and your fan base is like so cute.
Right.
They're so
There,
cute.
so many people have stuck around for such a long time and I'm so grateful and they're excited for new music and they just like stay engaged and happy with the music that I'm putting out. So it's a really great feeling.
What does that feel like though? Like having these people that you haven't met every single one, obviously.
Right.
What does that feel like?
It's wild. I mean, I think about myself as a fan and
Yeah.
how I look at artists that I love and respect and to know that there are people that do the same thing towards me is like mind-boggling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like a really surreal feeling. There was once someone made a post where they were like my favorite artists of, I don't know, it might have been 2019. And it was like Jasmine Sullivan, SZA, Janae Aiko, Sara Diamond. And I'm like, what? Like, please take me out of this list right now. It was crazy.
Do you ever feel like imposter syndrome in the industry sometimes?
For sure. For sure. I mean, I'm not where I want to be, but I have to remember to look back at where I started. And I definitely have moments where I'm like, how is this possible? Like, is this, Patterns has 8 million streams. And I'm like, who's listening to this? Like, what? How is this a thing? And I have to just like stop myself and remind myself to stay grounded and to stay not grounded in like a like big headway, but grounded in like I'm doing what I need to be doing and just stay consistent and stay loving it and stay passionate. But it's definitely crazy.
Especially when you tell me that you wanted, like, first you're like, I'm done with that. I'm done with it. Imagine you were actually done with it and then you'd never
I
even know,
know. I
right?
know. It's crazy. And it's crazy to write a song where people are like, this really affected me and this helped me get through a breakup and this, inspired me to get into music. I'm like, whoa.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Back to kind of touching on what I talked about earlier. You released SaraX and you're going on tour. It's a great album. The one song, it's called Riverside.
Okay.
When I played it again right after. I don't know. It's really good. But I am really curious, what was the inspiration, sort of behind the entire EP?
I released 2 EPs before, Forward and IDK. And when I released Forward, I was just out of a breakup and I was really confused and I was definitely dealing with the heartbreak aspect of it. And that's why the songs are so free flowing and just, kind of stream of consciousness kind of style.
Yeah.
And then for IDK, I was in a really tumultuous time in my life. I was struggling with my mental health. I was still dealing with the breakup. And it's called I Don't Know, so it really kind of encompasses where I was at during that time. But then I started to feel better and get better, and the breakup was kind of like in my past. So I wanted to make an EP that felt light and fun and different from what I'd put out in the past. And that's why it's called SaraX. It's kind of like Sarah multiplied. So it's all of these versions of me that I don't usually show. So they're more sexy, more fun, more intense. And that was kind of the intention behind it. I mean, it did happen really organically. So I didn't sit down and I wasn't like, I'm going to make this type of EP, but we created the songs and then it was like, this all fits. And this seems like a version of myself that I want to share. And I worked with a friend of mine, Tally, who's an incredible songwriter. And she really pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and kind of write from like more, some of the songs are a little bit toxic and a little bit, you know what I mean? So she pushed me to say like, what if you looked at it from this perspective? And what if you gave it this type of energy? So that was really, really fun. I experimented with co-production for the first time. So I co-produced Not All Fun Is Forever.
Not all fun is forever. Some fun is just for now. Sometimes you meet a person, get your feet on the ground. Not all fun is for heartache. Loved having you around. Not all fun is forever. Sometimes you just get now. Sometimes you just get now.
And Riverside's my favorite song on the project.
Riverside, no 405 to get to your place in the valley. 4 a.m. Don't need the address. I've been here like 9-10 times, yes. But something about this doesn't feel right.
That one was just like the producer sent me the beat and all of a sudden I was just like, Riverside, no 405. And like, I remember for that one lyric for the no 405, I looked at a map and I was like, does Riverside touch the 405? Like, how can I make this geographically correct and like still be cool? So that one was fun. That was definitely just like I finished it in like 10 or 15 minutes and sent it back. And he's like, how is this done? Like, I just sent it to you. So it was definitely a fun project. Like I had a lot of fun making it, which was great.
That's awesome. And that's so important. And it's funny because the hard question that I was going to ask, and I like asking musicians this because they always like, oh, songs are like my kids and I love them all equally. There's always one favorite that you love a little more.
For sure.
And you said Riverside's that one, unless there is another one. Can you tell me why? I mean, you kind of already did, but...
I mean, Riverside, it feels so different for me. Like it really feels like this powerful perspective and it's like melodically, it's not stuff that I've ever really done before. And I was using a different part of my voice. And I don't know, there's something about it. The way that the kick drum comes in the beginning with those 4 kicks, like I love it. And then I think if I had a second favorite, it would be Not All Fun Is Forever, just because I did co-produce it. So it was fun to... Like I had just gotten out of a situationship, whatever. And I was like, I don't know I don't know what to feel. I don't know what to do. So I just sat at my computer and I like found some splice loops and just built the track.
Yeah.
And I sent it off to my managers and they were like, yo, we love this. And I was like, oh, okay, sick. Like I produced it. So then I sent it to my friend Jay Sentry and he like added the drums and like the production, but I still get credit. So
As you should. As you should. Do you see yourself like co-producing or producing more in the future?
For sure. I mean, I think that throughout the process, I have been co-producing in the sense that I'm always in the room with the producer. I'm giving suggestions. I'm saying like, can we change this? Can we do that? So that's like, that is producing technically. But for sure, I mean, I definitely have more ideas nowadays when it comes to, like guitar parts and how I want the drums to sound. And I might not necessarily be the greatest. I'm not the greatest at like sitting down at the computer and producing because I don't have the right sounds and I don't use FL Studios, like whatever. But I definitely have fun with it. And I think I'll want to explore more for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Let's talk about tour.
Tour.
So the SaraX tour will be coming to Toronto, Montreal, New York, and West Hollywood. You'll be performing in Toronto at the Drake Hotel on August 18th. I know the show's going to be great because the EP is great. The show's going to be fantastic. And like I said, your fan base is the most adorable thing I've ever seen. So I already know that they're going to show up for it.
I'm so excited. We have a fun t-shirt. I'm giving away a little extra something with the t-shirts. The show is going to be great. So I'm super excited. And to perform with the Drake, I love the Drake. So it's going to be great.
That's really exciting. Tell me what it's like prepping and knowing that you're literally going on tour.
Yeah. I started preparing a couple months ago. Okay. I mean, I've been singing these songs since I made them, but I've started like doing rehearsals and prepping for it a couple months ago. And I'm excited to get back on stage. I mean, I did a show at the Phi Center in Montreal, probably like 4 years ago at this point. Okay. And it was so exhilarating. So to be doing my own shows and to be coming out to Toronto and Montreal and everywhere is so exciting. And yeah, I can't wait. I hope people love it and I'm going to give it my all. So it's going to be fun. I'm not nervous yet. I mean, I'm a little nervous. Like I have moments where I'm like, I hope I remember like this, then that and whatever. But usually right before I go on, I get this like rush of adrenaline, which is helpful. I mean, I've spoken to so many people about it because it's like, I've only met like less than a handful. I'd say a couple of people who don't get nervous at all. And it's like, I want that adrenaline rush. Like I want to know that like I feel something and I'm like about to go on stage and it's this whole process and yeah, so I'm looking forward to those jitters.
Everyone just like looks so natural when they walk on that stage. And I was like, there's no way that you're not freaking out right now. Like,
right. I mean, like as soon as I hit the stage, 9 out of 10 times the nerves go away and it just becomes like the present moment and I'm in it. There are some times where like I still stay a little jittery and I have to like talk myself out of it while I'm singing. I'm like, Sara, you're here, like come on. But usually it's like the jitters right before and then the music starts and it's like, okay, it's go time.
It's good. Yeah, you're good. It's just like the anticipation leading up to it.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine it, but it's probably also one of the greatest feelings ever.
It really is. It really, really is.
Like, okay, so this kind of relates, but how do you normally feel like when you're releasing music or when you're announcing a tour? What does that feel like?
So we release the songs or we submit the songs about 6 weeks before. So that's the initial process of like submitting the song, submitting the metadata. It's with the distributor. They kind of do their thing. And then now that I'm on the West Coast at 9:00 p.m., which is midnight Eastern time, I'm like, oh, okay, it's happening. And then like I get, jittery and I'm checking Spotify and I'm like seeing if people are writing something about it. But when I first started releasing music, I was definitely more nervous just because I think it was new, you know what I mean? And the songs were so personal. So I was like, oh, darn, like, is this person going to hear it? And what's the response going to be? And like, I'm bearing my soul here, like, oh God. So I've gotten better with the process of releasing. My new album is very personal and very honest. So I think with that one, I'm going to be a little jittery again, but it's just a process. I mean, at a certain point, it's like you have that process and you know the steps, and it's like, all right, this is what we're doing, it's happening, the song's out, I've let go, it's not mine anymore, and you just kind of continue on.
That's crazy. But you have been mentioning a new album. I don't know how much you can tell me, but like you can tell me if you want.
I'm so excited. It's very different from what I've been putting out. So when I started putting out music, it was very organic. I was working with different producers and I would kind of merge with the sounds that they were producing, and it was very free flowing. But this is an album where it was very intentional, and the songs are like, I would go into a studio session and the producer would come in, or a musician would come in with an acoustic guitar and start to play like folk chords. And I was like, oh my God, okay, like this is different. And the stuff that I was writing just felt so organic and so authentic. And I was like, this is the music that I want to be making. So it's definitely going to be a change. We're going to go through a bit of a hiatus period where I'm not like releasing anything, just to kind of like not confuse people too much, because it's really going to be like, whoa, like this is not what Sarah's been putting out in the past. So I don't know when it's slated to come out yet, definitely in 2023, but I'm so excited.
One thing I like to ask everyone to get them thinking, and I've always stumped people on this, so let's see.
Okay.
What's a message that you have for your future self?
Message that I have for my future self. Stay present and enjoy the little wins, because those are the big wins. And remember why you started, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd probably tell my younger self that it's going to get hard, but those moments are going to be worth it, because I mean, it's cliche, but like without the rain, you can't see the rainbow, and la la la. But it's also true. I mean, I've said about the mental health struggles that I went through and the heartbreak that I went through. If I had to go through all of that to make this album, then it was worth it, because I'm able to share my experience and hopefully help other people go through it, because no one has an isolated experience. You know what I mean? Like everybody, we're all going through the same stuff. And sometimes it takes listening to a song to realize like, hey, I'm not alone. And hey, if this person did it, I can do it. So I would say that.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah.
It's really actually what you said. I meant to say this earlier too, because you mentioned it a couple times, but what I love about like like music in general, but like some of the songs that you write, people can like relate to it, but then people can also take it and like adapt it to their own situation, which is so important.
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
Yeah, and I think you're doing a great job with that. So
thank you.
Do you have a message or anything you want to say to people who are listening right now, but also your fans who are going to be tuning into this?
Yeah, just thank you. Like thank you for sticking by, and thank you for listening to the music, and I hope you continue to enjoy the musical journey that I have coming, because it's not stopping anytime soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me today. I had an absolutely wonderful time, and it seems like we've got some pretty exciting things to look forward to, the tour, of course, and an album on the way. We will definitely keep an eye out for that. Thank you to everyone who's tuned into the interview. Definitely keep up with Sarah. You can find her on Spotify at Sara Diamond, or on Instagram at I am Sara Diamond. Before I say goodbye, I figured we'd play one of my favorite songs off the EP, and now we've learned is also one of Sarah's favorite songs, called Riverside. For CJRU 1280 AM in Toronto, I'm Zoha Nagar.
Something about these doesn't feel right. You and I are like two songs on different channels. We got that synergy, but it doesn't matter. You only call me when you're drunk or alone. Don't even need to check the name on my phone. Ooh, how many women are you sleeping with? How many numbers are you saving? Something more than a side chick. Come stay over till the morning. You got some prior commitments. No point then in really trying when the start here is the ending. And I know that people can change, but I'm not gonna wait for the day that you call me and say you're mine. I got my head on straight, so don't you waste my time. Single mentality is where I'm gonna be when you're inside of me. Riverside, no 405 to get to your place in the valley. 4 a.m. Don't need the address. I've been here like 9-10 times, yes. But something about this doesn't feel right, yeah. You and I are like two jokes with no solid punchline. Hit the club, I think we both need more time. I got a friend, I think he wants to see me, and a girl that's just a red, you've been fiending. Let's just be honest, this ain't serious. Heading down a road that doesn't lead to us, yeah. Yeah, I don't wanna get petty. I know that you're not ready, yeah, for something more than a side chick. Come over, we'll do it real quick. Don't stay over till the morning. You got some prior commitments. No point then in really trying when the start here is the ending.